back after, what is it, Hurricane Fiona. So we have no power, but we still want to work on this car. I probably shouldn't have told you Hurricane Fiona, because that's going to put a time that we started this car, and God knows when you're going to see this car. But what we got to do now is, you've seen that we got the engine mounts drilled out, we got the RSX mounts ready to go welded in place, but now we need to fit our motor. So I haven't been really telling you what we're using for a transmission and stuff yet, but we do have this dropout right here of K20 out of a 2005 RSX that we parted out. Now, I haven't decided if I'm just going to go on Kenny U-Pole's website, which is our local prick pole, and say, you know, it cost me $50 for that K-frame if I went and bought it at the U-Pole. It cost me $7 for an engine harness, because they charge you by the foot, which is hilarious, and things like that. But realistically, this motor, transmission, and dropout cost me $0. I bought the car for $700. It hit a deer. I'll put a picture up right now that you guys can see. I sold the front end off of it for like $300. I kept the seats. I sold the tail lights. I sold bumpers. I sold fenders. This basically paid me. So I'll decide later on in the video what we're going to do in this video. If we're going to count this as, maybe we should go to the U-Pole and say, okay, it's going to cost us $55 for a K-frame plus a core. It's going to cost us $300 for a transmission. But realistically, this whole build was built on, can you buy and build a K-swap for under $2,000 American? And if the process included me buying an RSX to junk, well, then we bought an RSX to junk, which was the process of that RSX anyways. We bought it knowing we were going to K-swap a couple cars. So realistically, we bought 4 RSXs in the last year. I bought 4 RSXs. One was an automatic. Somehow I sold the transmission for $200 and some odd for an auto transmission. Boggles my mind, but it was cheaper for us to buy smashed RSXs than it was for us to try to source axles, half shafts, transmissions, wiring harness, shifter boxes, shifter cables, and all that jazz. So the Dassault that we're doing that you guys haven't seen yet is going to be a K24 with a 6-speed. We, you know, source the stuff that way. We saved all the harnesses. We saved the computer, because I don't want to have to buy K Pro. I don't want to do all that. It gets expensive fast, and well, I'm cheap. Hence the reason why you see a target full of motors, because that's what we're doing. So enough of me talking. Let's get this broke down so we can get the K24 sat in place, and then we are going to get this ready to go into the Civic, so then we know where to put those metal mounts so we can weld them up. So we did a lot of this off camera because, well, we're going to watch us put it all back together anyways. So we're taking this off now. We're going to pull the motor off once we get this dropped down. We'll carry the K-frame into the garage. We still have no power, so we're doing what we can. And then we'll pull the K24, get that ready, and mount the two together. I do have a new clutch. I was going to use it for the Dassault, but I think I'm going to put a Comp Stage 2 clutch in it. So it's just an eBay clutch, I believe. It's a aftermarket clutch. I paid $250 for it, so we'll add that to the budget. That was clutch and flywheel. So this is the clutch we got. We got a Clutch Max Stage 2. Now I only bought this because it was local and it was $250 Canadian. I'll figure out the rate and put it up in the corner with things that we're at right now. So it does tell us how to install it. It did come with a new flywheel as well. So obviously we're going to end up using the flywheel that we have. We're going to end up using the new throwout bearing. So realistically, even if I was to buy a cheap one off of Rock Auto, which would be no better quality than this, it would be the same quality. And it would cost me more by the time I got it here. So I don't think $250 is that bad for this clutch. Now, this was technically meant for my K-swap Dassault because it wasn't going to go for a lot of power either. But I think my K-swap Dassault is going to go with a Comp Stage 2. And I can probably say it's going to go turbo because B is for boost. So let's get that broke down. We'll get the bolts ready. We're going to get the K24 out, get the K24 in there, get the transmission in there. We're probably going to mount everything in there because as you see, there's a mess and we still have no power. So we are putting our Clutch Max clutch on, as you see. Now you will notice a couple of things. A, this is not the K24 we pulled out of the TSX, because that's in the mess of the garage right there in the corner. This K24 we pulled out of an RSX that was free by the time we parted it out, and the RBC, and we had like the Jack Spaniel power steering delete, which is what I was going to use anyways. We were going to use this for my DeSoul, which is right there. So to keep things accounted for, we're going to classify this as that K24 because, well, I don't feel like taking that transmission off that one right now. So, but the RBC is not going to be included in this build, because if it does, I would actually say, well, RBCs sell for 400 Canadian. So I would classify that in the build, but this RBC is not being used. We do have an Acura RSX Type S intake manifold that we had with, actually it came with this motor and came with this. So we're going to use that one for our build. So now that this is ready to go in, we are going to get the transmission and stuff ready to bolt in, and we're going to get this in that car. Unfortunately, it is really dark in that garage right now with no power, so you probably aren't going to see us pulling the old K-frame and putting this one in because it's pitch dark. So there's only so much we can do outside, and that's what we're doing now. So it is a little bit lighter or brighter than I thought in here. So Chris is doing the transmission as we speak. We did have our mount set up from the RSX that we junked, so it had a insert, and we have a solid rear hand sport mount, as you see here. It is used. It came out of the RSX that we junked as well. I think the next video I'll show you the RSX that we junked, just so you guys can follow along, that we paid next to nothing for to begin with anyways. So we're just getting it done now so we can set it on the K-frame there. I think if it stays this light out, we can show you dropping this K-frame, setting that one up in spot. And then once that's up in spot, we'll know where these new mounts go so we can tack it in spot. Unfortunately, with no power, I can't tack today, but at least it can get up in spot. So when I do get power, I can do it myself, just tack away and get this engine bay ready for some paint, which I haven't told you the color yet, and I'm kind of excited for it. So we'll leave that as a secret for now.